packaging like PVC or metal pipe rather than a canvas bag. The behaviors that dogs show on their first trial with an exposed hide differ greatly. Some dogs make nose contact with the hide quite naturally, but some bite at the hide. Some dogs scratch. However, at this point in training, all hair-trained passive detector dogs have learned to make contact or closely acknowledge for reward, usually with the plexiglass window or the floor of the reward chamber. In addition, they have learned to be very active students. They have learned to experiment with their own behavior. As a result, by this point in training, if the dog does not immediately offer a contact response to the hide, Randy feels confident in simply waiting the dog out. It is through non-reward of incorrect responses that the dog learns that those responses are not successful. The most important thing is to resist the temptation to help the dog in some way by encouraging or correcting. Instead, Randy insists we must watch the animal and reinforce him the instant that he exhibits a contact or close acknowledgement response. After just a few trials, the dog will make contact readily, and then Randy begins teaching the dog to be stubborn. He withholds reward after the first contact and asks for a second before he rewards the dog. Then he refuses to reward the second and asks for a third, and so forth, until the dog stubbornly stays at the scent box, repeatedly contacting the hide until the reward is presented. A very few dogs naturally learn a prolonged contact response, in which they place their noses in contact with the hide and wait there until rewarded. This behavior is ideal, but unnecessary. Such dogs are in the minority. Most animals learn a pattern of repeated light contacts or obvious acknowledgments, and for Randy's purposes, this behavior is perfectly satisfactory. The passive dog learns to extend his search beyond the confines of the short rack in the same manner as the aggressive dog. Randy simply places the hide in scent boxes nearby to the short rack and waits, relying on the dog's independent search and his obedience to odor.